You're listening to the 40 Fit Radio podcast, dedicated to the 40-plus community. Join us as we discuss the truth about fitness and health using science, reason, and the experiences of our host and content experts. Welcome to the 40 Fit Nation. So hey guys, welcome back to 40 Fit Radio and welcome back to the 40 Fit Nation. We're live in our studio in the booming metropolis of Keller, Texas. We got Coach Trent here.
It booms too much for me.
Have
you seen the development in this neighborhood? It's crazy.
It's just suburban America,
Suburban
welcome
sprawl.
to soccer moms and
Suburban
Starbucks
dystopia.
and, yes, it's very dystopic.
Hey man, I'm keeping it real. I've got my craft coffee here that I made in-house with my there we go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Got a
local
little Summer Moon,
coffee.
local coffee company. But we have Brad Lamar in the house. Brad, good morning.
Good morning.
Brad is one of our members here at Fort Worth Strength. He's also kind of a relative to me. We don't want to tell the whole story, but his wife is my second cousin.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, second cousin. I always get that wrong, but they're really close to us, and he's one of our members at our gym. He's a real member, though. He's an actual member. He's not just a family member training at my gym.
Yeah.
We actually have real members here.
Yep, that's right.
And but we're going to talk a little bit about Brad's story. We're going to talk about his journey as a lifter here at our gym and how lifting and fitness and exercise and just the model that we use here at 40 Fit 2, what we promote, has impacted his life. So, Brad, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your age, what you do, your athletic background. I know you're married. You got four boys. Yeah, you had the boy gene and I had the girl gene.
I would say that? 2 men and 2 boys.
Yeah,
right.
Are you one of the boys or one of the men?
Well,
that's the fifth.
I'm the 5th child.
Okay.
Is what I get claimed to be. So.
I was about to say, because I have at one point or another trained all but one of your boys.
Correct. The
and,
youngest, Owen, you haven't yet.
That's right. Yeah. We will.
He's 12.
He
he's
gave a little
close.
bit of time.
His son's trained here. His wife, Mel, my cousin, trains here. I mean, the whole family's kind of involved in strength training, which is awesome.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
Totally awesome. All right, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I'm 49 years old. Be 50 here in about 6 months. So another milestone coming up.
50 fit.
Halfway to 100.
Halfway to 100.
Yeah.
But a good thing I have going, I keep getting accused or assumed that my oldest son is my brother, not my son. So I was like, I'll take that any day.
Cool.
Oldest son just got married recently, so that's a big change in the life. And like I said, I have 2 older sons, 22-year-old, 20, and then a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old at home. So a lot of testosterone in the house. Like you said, a lot of lifting. Everybody lifts except for the youngest.
A lot of food consumed.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the food. We go through so much. It's crazy. And protein powder and everything else. With everybody lifting, it makes a difference, even the youngest. And he's very active, just not doing this yet.
Sure.
So as far as vocation, I'm an IT executive for a healthcare company. Keeps me very busy. Love to work. High stress job, but it's also a rewarding job. Yeah. Great company, great culture. Love the people I work with. So it's good. It keeps me balanced, but it also keeps me very, very busy. So training for me has been it's an outlet for me. It's a decompression. Even though when we're lifting heavy, it's hard. It's something that it's really been over the last 2 years in doing this. It's been a life changer for me. Just helped me to stabilize. And again, talk about going to the health issues we've had too and overcoming. But
so let's talk a little bit about where you started. So you started about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. What was your weight when you started?
I was around 285.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you're 5'11"?
5'11"-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Close.
Okay. And 2 years later or through your journey, what's the lowest that you've been down to?
I've been down to 231 at one point. And over the last, I'd say 9 months, it's kind of leveled off around 240, between 235, 240. But it's also with some of the gains I've had in lean muscle mass that it's grown during that
body
time too.
Body composition change.
Yeah. Huge. I've gone from 41% body fat down to last was 17.5%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's freaking
as
awesome.
of last month. So that was a huge accomplishment.
I love to show people. So, we track body fat and body weight and lean mass on our True Coach system. Right. And I love to show people your graph. I brag on you a lot because over that first year of training, let's see. So you started with us on it. Let's see, it was almost exactly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This was mid-July of 2018. And from mid-July of 2018 to mid-July of 2019, you lost that about 50 pounds. You're down to about 230. Right. And so obviously you lost a lot of inches off your waist. Your body fat came down a lot. And so at that point, right after all that weight loss, you're hovering around 20 to 21% body fat.
Right.
And there's the interesting thing, like you said, you leveled off and even gained some weight, about 5 to 10 pounds over the last year,
lean mass.
19 to 20.
Right.
And your body fat has gone down from 20% to sub 20. You're in the mid 17.5%.
Yeah.
It's amazing, right? So a lot of people are like, wait a minute, but you gained weight.
Right.
How could that happen?
Right.
But no, your body, your waist is continue to go down, and your lean mass continues to go up. So that's awesome.
Yeah, you buy more clothes than a woman now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, between that and shoes, she says I've got a problem. I don't think it's a problem.
It's like guns, you know.
Well, I was like, guns. Can you ever have too much?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like guns. Like, should you really need another? Yeah,
it's like guitars
absolutely.
for me.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever your fetish is.
We have that problem in the house too.
Yeah,
it's
right.
just with boys.
Yeah. So a big loss in body fat, a big gain in lean mass, more importantly, a whole change in your body composition and your health, what it's probably done to your blood work and other things.
Yeah.
You know, it's just incredible, probably.
Everything is stabilized.
Yeah. And so let's talk about, as you went through this journey, so you barbell trained 3 days a week. But as you went through this journey, you started to have a little bit of back problems, or you had some back problems, and talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, historically, I guess most of my adult life, I've had it from just sports injuries from high school and just not taking care of my body. Had back injuries, and it's been a long journey with that, and worked out from time to time. Sometimes I stopped working out because of the pain, and it was it got to be a problem, and then the weight gain compounded that. And so, the lower back always had problems around that L4 area. And in the training, a couple months in, it really raised its head again.
Right,
and it was more, not necessarily the training itself. It was just, I was inactive.
It. Yeah.
Well, and I was inactive for so long. I sat around, I had the dad bod going on, and was really struggling with my weight and health and everything else going up. But the L5 or the L4, L5 area started, hurting for a while. And so kept working through that, but trained through it. I mean, one of the things.
Yeah, we tried to everything we could around it.
Yep. Stretching, doctor's visits, chiropractic.
Yeah, we got an inversion table in here. You were on it just a few minutes ago.
I was.
It's good decompression.
Yeah, I do it just to keep the body going and make sure that I still see a chiropractor regularly to help. But it's just keeping that stiffness in the back and keeping everything moving well.
Sure.
But it had that. It was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, just that narrowing in the spinal column, and just had some nerve pain initially. Lasted for a few months, and then it went away, just through training. I mean, we trained through it. We talked about it. What do I need to do? We three of us talked.
Training,
we did, we lightened up on some of the things we were doing. We changed the program around, and it took about 6 months, but it dissipated and it went away finally. And then for about a year was, little pains here, there, things through,
tweaks,
making sure I was lifting correctly, that I was doing everything with proper form, using, setting the back on all the lifts.
Yeah.
Then had a recurrence of it last December, and got probably worse than the first time, and just that nerve pain going down the hip into the foot, and went back, had an MRI done, and found that had a what they're calling a disc bulge. It was pushing into the nerve root.
Right.
And causing that pain. Ended up continued training through it. Didn't stop. Doctor told me to go light. We changed the program around and worked through that, and ended up having to have an injection, an epidural in that L4, L5 area to reduce that disc compression. And took about 6 weeks for that to work. We still worked out. We did light. Unfortunately, it was during the pandemic. We had to close for a while.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the body weight exercises, walking a ton, doing things, but kept working out through it, and took about 6 weeks, and it went away. And then we've worked my strength back up to now PR weights on everything I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we talked to Cliff last week, and he had similar symptoms of that real bad sciatic nerve pain going down his leg. And one of the things that we had done is basically just to modify the frequency and the volume of your squats, right? So,
and in some cases, the range of motion, we would limit the range of motion. Maybe take you to rack pulls, or maybe on the squats, not have you squat as deep. Remember when we were have you squat a little shyer, just to take a little bit of the stress off, but still get enough stimulus in the system to keep driving strength.
Yeah, so we have on your training lately. What we've been doing is we kind of found that if we ramp up the volume too much on your squat, that seems to be where you start to put a lot more pressure. I guess probably because of the compressive force of a squat. You think about when you've got that weight sitting on your back, your spine is in compression at the top of the squat, and so it seemed like a lot of volume, like doing the sets of 8 or doing 5 sets of 5. In a frequency of 3 or more times a week, that was too much, and that was compressing that lumbar spine a little bit too much and causing those symptoms to rear their head again. So we've pulled back on the frequency, squatting twice a week, and we've also tried to play around with loading to make sure that it's not always heavy, right? So you've got one heavy day a week, and then on another day, on the opposite day. So if Monday's heavy, Friday is a lighter squat, and we've been doing front squats lately. Your favorite lift?
Yeah, my new favorite. Yeah,
yeah, cool.
Forearms are still
different to get used to, but yeah.
But and then we've done a leg press in the middle of the week to kind of take off again. So we can still load your legs pretty heavy. You're leg pressing over 4 plates now. So you can still do that real heavy, but it takes some of the compressive force off your back. So it gives you a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and backs felt great through this. And again, just credit to changing the programming, adjusting it to what I needed.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's a common theme here that we saw with Cliff and just about every client we've had, because every client we have is different.
Yeah.
People would say, well, they're all the same. I mean, humans are humans, man, not so much, and everybody adapts to training stress differently. And so sometimes the key to this process is thinking out. I mean, you were asking me about one of our other members, Sam, the other day about how to do this and how to do that. I said, I want to see some videos. I want to see his elbow drive. I want to see his back angle, his depth, his hip drive. All these different things play into how we modify training to best get you around roadblocks.
Yeah.
It's like being on a journey. It's like going someplace you got to get to, and you're going. It's the best beach in the world. You're going. You and your wife are taking a week off, and you're going come hell or high water. And you run into a roadblock on the road. You're driving there, okay? Well, you don't just stop. I mean, you got the beach on the other side, man. So you're going to find any way you can to get around that. And that's what we try to do in training with our trainees is help them reach the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to get, physically strong, to get mentally strong, to have a good ability to function in life, and to have a good quality of life. And that's the key. So modifying those things and being creative along the way is important.
Exactly. And a big part of that too is like how you're feeling day to day. Because I remember when you're going through those back tweaks, just like, it was hard to sit down at work for more than a few minutes. Remember you telling me?
Yeah, actually I couldn't. I had to move to a standing desk. I had to stand all the time. Driving to and from work, I had about a 45-minute to an hour drive each way, which was very painful. I had to find that perfect spot where it wasn't too painful. I could deal with it.
There.
I was like, lock in right here and just get there. And I was so
then
focused.
You get to work, you're tired. You're like, it's like a workout. Isometric ab workout.
But work through that and, find the standing, walking a lot, just working through that helped. But it definitely was a challenge during that time.
So I think that's a similar theme, that we've learned talking to Cliff last week and now talking to you, Brad, is that there's also a sweet spot with your fitness and your health, right? And so there may come a time, and I think you've brushed up against this a few times, where it's like, do we want to keep pushing for PRs, or do we want to kind of maybe just like take the PR when it's there, but not get greedy and stay feeling good? Right, so you don't have to walk around the office, and just in pain all day, and risk kind of re-injuring some of those old injuries in your back. So
I mean, we have the testosterone to make you worse. Meaning, just like we have the technology to make you worse. I always tell people in medicine, we have the technology to make you worse.
Yeah.
The doctors can cut on you when you don't need to be cut on. We have the technology to worsen your condition. And the same thing here. I think finding that sweet spot is as men or women, I think men sometimes we struggle with it more because there's a little bit more drive, a little bit more testosterone there, and there's a little bit more desire to kind of recapture your glory days. And I think at some point you do have to recognize, and we don't determine what that point is, and we don't tell people what that point should be, but at some point you recognize, like you're saying, Trent, that there is a spot where you say, man, I'm really strong and really able, and if I could just stay here for a long, long time, I mean, I can do just about anything I want to do.
Right.
And so we're training for life. We're training to not, I mean, if you wanted to go do a strength comp, that's great, which we do that sometimes. But really why we're training is because it's another part of our added quality of life. Just like, meditation or spiritual development and training and taking care of our financial lives, our social lives, and our marriages and all these other things. And so it's just another compartment,
right.
Our physical culture and our physicality, basically. So
yeah. So, and all that being said, like you're still hitting PRs, right?
Yes.
So when things are going well, and we'll try to hit some singles or doubles or triples. Right. So I've got you. See today you just squatted. What did you squat today?
I did 250 today.
250
for 3 sets of 3.
3 sets of 3. Yeah. So that's kind of your heavy day for squats, and then you'll do some front squats much lighter.
Right.
The other day of the week, and then your pulls. Let's see, you're pulling in the mid 3s right now.
Right.
I think you pulled what was it, 325 on Saturday?
325 on Saturday.
Yeah, for a set of 5.
Right.
And you'll do some volume deadlifts in there too.
Nice.
So that's awesome. And then you just hit some PRs, and your upper body training has been going awesome. So we're like, hey man, let's hit some singles.
Yep.
So what did you end up benching the other day?
Last single was 270.
270. Yeah.
Sweet.
So 270 single, and then
Lifetime PR.
Lifetime PR is 20 pounds bigger than my last PR was about 6 months ago.
That's for the Stronger Together meet.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So this dude's a bench machine.
About to turn 50.
We're gonna do eventually. We're gonna shoot a video on like how to bench press, and Brad's got to be the guy that's our model.
Sweet.
Because I mean it's so beautiful. And you hit some press PRs too,
I did.
right? So
yeah, Saturday we hit. I think 160 was the last one I was able to do.
Yeah. That's a pretty sweet press, and you do it strict.
Strict
too.
press,
yeah.
correct.
There's no hip drive.
No hip
with
drive,
that, that's impressive. Getting that weight started is hard.
And that's another example of how we modify lifting forms sometimes to accommodate underlying problems or issues. The last thing we want to let you do is hyperextend in the lumbar spine.
Right.
Yeah.
Overextend because you get that nerve pain, you get problems. It kind of, for lack of better terms, pisses off the area. Mm-hmm. So being strict and having that core strength, that trunk strength nice and flat, and just keeping that back nice and neutral during the press. Number one, it makes your shoulders crazy strong, but there's no cheating on that deal.
No.
Man. So
no.
Yeah.
I knew when I was there.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's a perfect example though of still driving gains in other areas. The one theme I think you hear from this podcast and prior podcasts that we've done with other individuals that we've trained is this. Many of these people during physical problems have continued to train.
Yeah.
In the large majority of the cases, they've continued to train. And there's this all or nothing mentality that we develop that when we have an injury or we have a pain problem, that we automatically decide we have to pull back and do nothing. But we have to be creative. And I can remember my last shoulder surgery on my left shoulder. I'm 7 days post-op, I think, and I did a video, and I'm doing air squats and front dumbbell squats and dumbbell presses with the off arm, and I'm doing one-handed deadlift pulls, and I'm still training, because your fitness doesn't stop. So you can learn how to adapt to your situation and still train.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So really quick, I wanted to hit on your body composition changes that you've made, because I think like you and Cliff would probably have a race for like who's the most consistent in the gym. I think you're definitely the top two.
And they're both IT guys.
Yes.
There's a trend here. These guys are analytical.
Well, there's a reason they've made it as far as they have in their careers. Like you can tell, it's like this man. They just keep hitting it, and they almost never miss workouts. Unless you're on vacation or something, it's rare. So you've also been really consistent with your diet too.
Yes.
So you're a guy that likes to track your macros. So how has that kind of changed? How has your diet changed over the last 2 years that you've been training?
Well, I'd say it's been huge. looking at when we started tracking, just tracking what am I eating? That's one of our first conversations.
So had you ever done that before?
Not really. We've used, wife and I used some different apps to see, like the Fit Day app and some other things, just to see where we were.
Yeah.
And, we would track and try and be good. And, then we get off the reservation and just go back to our bad habits, and hadn't really tracked in years to this. And in tracking, it was kind of eye-opening how much I was taking in for fat and carbs and just overall calorie intake going. It was out of control. And then looking at, what I was eating and then the type of food I was eating, I think was probably the biggest change too. Because we've got our meals that we always like, our comfort foods and things, especially growing up here in Texas
have like a
and
pizza
stuff.
night, right? It's every Friday.
We do. But it was probably, we'd say, hey, one cheat meal a week, and that was pizza night. And it was like, well, how many cheat meals have we had this week? Well, how many days have there been? Yeah. So 6.
Right.
And so it was getting both of us back into
every day is a cheat day.
But every day was a cheat day.
How many clean days did we have? 0? One?
Starting there.
Right.
But it was tracking that, and then really just buckling down on it, saying what really watching my protein intake, all the factors, protein, fat, fiber intake. That was a big thing for my, doctor talking about getting my fiber up, especially as you age, and trying to make sure you maintain a good level.
Right.
I don't want to take supplements for it. I want to do it naturally. So it's finding those foods and the combinations that work and allowing me to maintain that balance. And I've stuck with it. I mean, these gains I've had is because of being very, as Darren was saying, very analytical, said, I know what I need to eat, and I stick to a schedule. I now eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I know what my intake's got to be. I know how much protein I need to take in, so I'll do a shake in the morning. I'll do another one at night if I need to, but I try and fill it with actual food. And substitute things that are going to be higher in protein versus lower in fat, chicken breast versus something else I might eat. But we still treat ourselves. We know there's date nights, you got to go out and you enjoy yourself, not worry about it, but not go crazy, because I've also found if you go bad for a few days, like you're on vacation, your body feels it after eating good for a long time. It's hard to kind of
get the habit back going again, for sure.
Yeah, but again, I'm a wife would laugh at this, but I'm a very routine guy. I have a routine. I stick with my schedule and I do it, and that's what keeps me going. That way, I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I know what the intake's got to be, and I make sure, even if it's a different meal we haven't done, I know how much protein's in it. I'll calculate that, and then I track it in the app and make sure I'm on track.
Yeah. Well, the way that you look in a t-shirt when you walk in the gym is completely different from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's funny, my wife sees you once every, 4 or 5 months because whenever she happens to come to the gym, and she's like, oh man, Brad, she saw you the other day. She's like, oh man, Brad looks really good. And but that's the thing, like your traps have filled out, your upper body's filled out, your waist has gone down a lot, and so like you look completely different. You look like you train now.
Well, you went from the dad bod to a guy who looks stocky and muscular.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah. Several shirt sizes. Things that
pant sizes, right?
That's probably the biggest change.
Yeah, where'd you start at?
42.
Yeah.
Depending on slacks is like a 44. And now I'm down to some of my shorts or jeans are 34, 36.
Yeah.
Depending on what I'm wearing. And it just depends on the style. But it's been a big change. And even when we're talking about the gains, even with being 10 pounds different from where I was when I was at low 230s.
Right.
Not a big change. My waist, everything still fits the same. Don't have to worry about it. At least I'm not having to replace clothes. That was the biggest change, is hitting those different milestones. And but it was worthwhile.
Yeah,
I'd rather do that than go the other way.
Well, one of the things I hear again is that's a common thread here, because I love finding those common things that you see from individual to individual that makes them successful in this journey. And another common thread here is basically this: routine. I always used to say the key to your success is hidden in your daily routine. My breakfast is the same thing every single morning. It's 3 eggs cooked sunny side up, a bowl of 1 cup of unsweetened applesauce with blackberries all throughout it, and a couple cups of coffee, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but it's predictable. My wife, when she goes to the grocery store, if she's shopping, she knows exactly what to get me. I know exactly what the carb, the fat, and the protein load is. And then, predictability is what creates success. It's your hidden routine. And then you can, when you want to, you can be more creative, food for life, food for function. And then when you want to enjoy food socially, like at a date night, like when you're with your buddies or your friends or you're out with other couples, then you can do that. And you also don't feel guilty about it because you know you've eaten well throughout the week.
Right.
Humans have a what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of dysfunctional in how they think about food and nutrition.
Yeah. It's like we talked about this a while ago. I don't think we've ever mentioned this in the podcast, but wherever you live right now, dear listener, think about if you roll the clock back 150 years, what would you have available to eat locally?
Yeah.
We're here in North Texas, we do grow a lot of crops here.
Right,
We've got an arid climate, lots of sun, decent amount of rain.
Right.
So we'd have a fair amount of vegetables we could eat. We have beef, but would we have potatoes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what crops would grow natively here.
Sure.
But the point is, the variety of food we would have to choose from 150 years ago.
Would be based on our region.
It would be based on our region. It would be pretty small.
Right.
Like beef, chicken, a little bit of pork,
beans,
right? Beans.
Yep.
We wouldn't be having sushi,
corn.
Yeah,
wheat, maize,
and so I think that humans, when presented with like kind of the westernized supermarket that we have now, it's overwhelming evolution from an evolutionary perspective. Like we're not meant to have this many calories available to us, and so the routine can kind of help you reduce the cognitive load of having to make these food decisions every day. You're like, well, I just eat the same thing. I don't have to think about it. I just make the meal.
Yeah, by limiting those options, you limit mistakes too. And that's a big part of it. Sometimes you just got to get rid of stuff, cleansing the pantry, get rid of stuff, and say, okay, I'm only going to eat these things in the morning. This is going to be my morning. This is going to be my lunch. Now I know you have a professional life to where you might have to go out on lunch or at meetings or other things, but you've learned how to make that work. I get a chicken breast, some broccoli, and a salad. A glass of iced tea or something, or Diet Coke, whatever you want to drink. So now you've educated yourself. I mean, you really don't need us anymore. In the sense that you know what to do, but having this environment and this culture and this community, I think, helps to move you down the road.
It is the community and the motivation, and just working out with the different guys and ladies that are here. The coaching guidance, even though doing this for 2 years, there's still tweaks we need to do. There's things we need to adjust. So having that guidance from y'all and just. And again, just tracking where we're going and seeing that progress. And now it's a competition.
It's called training, not exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
You actually have a plan.
Yeah. Well, you say, again, my wife would say, I have a plan for everything.
Yeah, it's good, man.
That's just how I'm wired. But again, it's just the training and the motivation and just, again, it's a competition against myself now. It was, I want to hit these goals. And it's still having goals to hit.
Yeah.
And
right.
Well, man, Brad, thanks for joining us here on the 40 Fit Radio. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And thanks for joining us, folks, and listening to the podcast this morning. We hope to have more podcasts that are just kind of personal interest stories and ways that we can get the word out, basically, that anyone can do this, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyone can take charge of their life, even if they're 49.
Yep.
Approaching the big 50.
That's right.
And so thanks for joining 40 Fit Radio today, guys. If you want to get more information from us, you can email us, info@40fit.com. Check us out at 40 Fit Radio on Instagram. Trent's at Marmalade Cream. I'm at Dr. Deaton, and our Facebook page is 40 Fit Nation Facebook group. So, all right, you want to take us out, Trent?
Well, I think you did a good job right there. So we'll see you next week.
Take care.